Well, hello there and welcome back. This is episode 29 of my Minecraft 1.15 Let's Play. Once again, I am starting an episode above bedrock, but I'm now on the other side of my nether perimeter here. And so we can come around this way and we can see I've cleared out these areas right here all the way down. I need to drop some anvils in there. We'll go over that in just a second. And then this is the first area that I cleared out. And we come over here. See exactly how big all of this is. This is massive. And then I have also cleared out this section. So this is cleared out all the way down to bedrock. And then we'll come back around to the beginning. Trying not to die. Oops. Well, that's certainly not the first time that's happened. Between lava crashing into things and blowing myself up, I've actually died quite a bit on this project. So much so that I've got a bed right next to a portal and I keep elytra and rockets in it at all times. And then I can just go to my ender chest and grab the rest of the equipment that I need. Alright, I'm suited back up. I didn't lose that much because I make sure not to carry that much at any given point in time. I've lost a few shulker boxes that way, and I try to make sure that I don't carry shulker boxes full of items when I'm working on this project anymore, because that has a tendency to happen from time to time. Alright, so anyways, as I was saying, I've got all this cleared out. Now, on these sides, the reason I've cleared out one layer like this is because all of this needs to be filled with anvils. There's just not really any other way. I need to make sure all this lava over here doesn't end up when, like if I just use sand, this will get blown up, the lava will flow out, it'll get in the way of the other explosions, and it will make the machine stop working because it'll actually run into blocks if the explosions stop working. So I have to have something that's blast resistant that's going to keep this lava on this side of the explosions. So anvils are the only way. So I've done the math. I can't get a precise number because of the nature of how bedrock works, but it's going to be somewhere between 8 and 9 total shulker boxes full of anvils. So I got together all the iron that I have, and I ended up with 5.5 shulker boxes full of anvils. Now each of these shulker boxes represents about 3.5 shulker boxes of iron blocks. So this is an awful lot of iron right here. So this iron farm that I've had for a long time has been running in the spawn chunks for months. And this is the culmination of all of that. Now granted, it was full, so it was running full and just kind of wasting iron for a while. Yeah, so it did take me a long while to collect all this iron. And I did an overnight session to see how fast it gets iron. And I got about 3 stacks of anvils. So at that rate, to fill off this last 2.5, 3.5 shulker boxes full of anvils, it would take me at least a week. So I think it's finally time to ramp this up. Now, I never improved this because I never needed to, but I think it's finally time to just set up all 5 modules. Now, it's funny because when I first set this up, this took quite a bit of effort because I barely had the materials that I needed. I was scraping together everything I could, and I kept falling down, and now I have elytra so I can fly back up if I fall down. I don't have to climb back up. So hopefully this should be quite a bit easier, and I can get this to go in fairly quickly. The hard part is I'm going to have to move over the villagers, and my floating island isn't that far away, so I'm guessing I will just use some blocks and run a line all the way over to deliver the villagers straight to the iron farm. So let's get that going. So I finished this up last night just before going to bed, and then I ran it overnight, so we get to get a good look at how well it's doing. It looks like it's doing really well so far. So come over to the chest storage over here and see how we're doing. It's not into the third row yet. Looks like we're almost at 7.5 chests, and then there's the hoppers behind it. So it's 15.5 chests would make a shulker box full of anvils. So it looks like we've got a half a shulker box full of anvils over about 8 to 10 hours. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty sure this does run while I am in the Nether, and I'm pretty sure it's going to take me more than a day to set up the World Eater. So we should have everything we need by the time I'm done setting up the World Eater. That's my hope, at least. But everything seems to be working really well. This is 5 times as fast as my old one. I don't know what I'm going to do with all that iron after I'm done with this project, because, man, this is going to be a lot of iron. But it's pretty cool. I think it's really important when working on something like this to test it out in creative as thoroughly as possible. And a lot of times the world download that people provide for flying machines like this is like a smaller version than you might actually need. So his was like 120 some odd blocks. So it's important. I used Lightmatica to copy sections and get it to exactly the size I needed it to be. So this is the full 288 by 288 blocks. That gives me a full template that I can use. And it also lets me see if there are any problems. Like the different size meant that the last flying machine down on this side needed to be arranged differently, and it took me some work. You can see all the failed machines over there where I kept copying and testing it out, because this flying machine needs to be exactly 12 blocks so that when it reaches the block over on that side, it doesn't continue to push past it. So that's really important. So I had to figure out, and I had a few times where I didn't set up the sticky slime blocks quite right, and they just kind of stayed behind. So it took me some testing to figure all that out, but I've got everything working so far. I've even gone as far as to make a copy of my survival world and test it in that just to make sure that everything's working right, and it appears to be working pretty well. Some things of note is that there's some extra clearance that's required on the side, and it looks like I actually already have that, but it's worth checking. Yeah, there might be some blocks further down, that are going to be in the way, so I need to make sure that those get taken out of the way. It looks like it goes all the way down, so a few extra blocks need to be removed here as well. Same thing on the other side, as well as this machine up here actually rests against bedrock when you start the machine. So these blocks right here go all the way up against bedrock. So I have to make sure that there's none of these nether racks up here when I place these. So other than that, everything seems to be working really well. As far as materials go, I've been AFKing at my slime farm while waiting for more iron, so I should be pretty good on this 2.5 shulker boxes of slime blocks. And I may need to go and collect a couple shulker boxes full of cobblestone in order to meet all these extra observers and pistons that I need. And then for terracotta, I was using villagers, but they're pretty slow, and I only needed like a stack for the tunnel bore. And now I need 500 and then another 100. So I might have to go and find a mesa, and then just a quick mining session at the mesa will get me what I need a lot faster than doing villagers. And then everything else doesn't really concern me much at all. Not really anything I need to worry about. Obviously the dragon eggs I do need, but we've already taken care of that. Alright, I'm using Chunk Base again, and they've got a biome finder. I've put in my seed. And so here's my world origin, my floating island somewhere in this area right here. So we're going to zoom way out. And then I found one. I guess it's not called mesas anymore. They're called badlands. So there we are right there. So it's 5,000 by 8,000. It gets out a little right here. So in this range, so 5,000 by 9,500, 8,500, somewhere in there. So I'll probably want to go to the top of my nether and set up another portal to go directly to there. Save me quite a bit of trouble. So the portal took me right to the middle of the mesa, just as expected. I've set up a beacon here. I should be able to leave this here. Hopefully I will have an endless supply of beacons fairly soon. And so I've grabbed myself a shulker box full of terracotta. So let's head on to the back of the base, smelt that all down, and gather the rest of the resources. So I've come out here to what I call my quarry. This is just a manual quarry where I come and grab bulk resources like stone and cobblestone and dirt whenever I need them. And it appears that I've left a bunch of resources behind the last time I was here. Now there's a decent amount of stone here, which will definitely be helpful. I've been running low on that, but I've been running real low on shulker boxes, and I wish I had realized that I had left 13 behind here. I definitely could have used those. So I've come out here for cobblestone so I can get build all those observers and pistons and whatnot. So I'm going to grab all that, and then I guess I'll bring these back with me as well. Alright, so I got all the materials packed up over here. I got the areas cleared out down there. So now it's time to start building. So this time around, I actually did place the TNT, but it's perfectly inert here. It's not going to do anything because there's nothing to power it because there's no minecart and rail there. I did some testing before I even started building anything. I learned from last time around that you can't simply place the minecart and rail. It'll just straight power the TNT and then bad things happen. So you need to bud power it without providing a block update to the TNT. And so like I said, I did some testing ahead of time and I figured the best way to do that is to place a block next to this slime block, remove that slime block so that I'm going to push this block into there, and then I can, we'll have to bridge out a little bit to set it up. So normally I could place a minecart and a rail right on the block right there, and if I push them in with a piston, the minecart actually won't go with it. Minecart will fall down to the ground and I'll have to start over from scratch. So I figured out I have to add 2 extra slime blocks right there. That'll actually push the cart in, and then I can just put a piston there, power it, everything's good. I can remove all this, and then I can remove these 2 extra slime blocks. I don't need those. And then that's what it needs to look like when I'm done, and it's all fired and ready to go. And then basically I just need to do that all the way down and then remove all this extra scaffolding that I've got sitting around here, and then I should be good to go. Alright, so once again I have built a template that includes all of the padding areas that need to be clear of blocks all the way through the whole thing, just to make sure there's nothing that should be a problem. And I've got a clean bill of health as far as the schematic verifier goes. I've got some anvils that are facing the wrong direction, but that doesn't worry me any. So yeah, let's give this a try. I'm very nervous about this. Well, I call that a successful test run, so far so good. I guess we can give this the full treatment now. I'm going to keep a close eye on it, and then I am also very worried about what will happen when it reaches down to these lava levels right here. So I will keep an even closer level on it once it gets down to there. Hopefully all goes well. I'm glad I checked this over before starting the lava levels because my last flying machine here is completely gone. I actually found it. It's way up there. So it actually, one of these terracotta blocks is missing as well. I don't know if you can see it from this angle. But yeah, that means it pushed through the terracotta block. So I set up the last flying machine wrong. This side is a proper number of blocks. It's 12 blocks, so that it doesn't push through on that side. This one is not a full 12 blocks, so it pushed, there you can see the terracotta, so it pushed through the terracotta. I think I got really lucky that it didn't end up causing any problems earlier, but once I get into the lava levels, I absolutely need this flying machine, and it will cause problems if it's not there. Easy fix though, I just need to figure out where to place a few extra glass blocks or whatever, make sure it's 12 blocks, and then I should be good. Alright, that should do it. I'm going to keep a close eye on it though, because if this does fail, hopefully if I catch it soon, I should be able to catch it before that part fails. This part is much more difficult to rebuild than this is. If this fails, I can rebuild it very quickly as long as I notice it as soon as possible. Just a minor issue here. I wasn't supposed to put a slime block on the back side of this flying machine. So you can see that it hit this sand block and it reached the push limit. And now the flying machine can't pull it anymore. So it just kind of stuck there. Just to clarify, these flying machines here, these are the lava removers at the bottom. And they're normally 10 blocks wide. They clear out 10 blocks of lava. And this last one, I only need to clear out 4 blocks of lava, and so that's where the difficulty is I've got to jam 12 blocks into a very small flying machine without it interfering with any of the other flying machines or itself or anything like that. So it's hard to find spots where all those blocks can fit. And in this specific case, I think it's going to be easier to just replace this whole section going all the way down with anvils rather than try and figure out where else to put these blocks. I'll just put anvils here and then it won't stick to them, and then that should hopefully be fine. Also, you'll notice that this flying machine didn't come back. It got stuck as a result of this one, so I've just got to remove the block that it's stuck to. There's like a block down on the ground here. Oop, don't do that. So I got to remove these extra blocks down here and then send it along on its way, and then that should be fine. And I'll have to run that one over across to get rid of any lava there, and then hopefully we should be good from there. It's a bit of a pain to get these to go manually, but it's a lot better than having one of these things explode on me. So I've had to clear out the row of sand that goes right along this anvil, because this has already been pushed down one block, and if it's up one more block, it'll stick to the machine. So hopefully, when I place that block, it'll take off, and it's probably going to stick to something. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully everything goes well here. Alright, I got this thing going, and now I can better see what this is sticking to. So we can come over here, and I had to remove this sticky block so that it didn't stick to that flying machine. And that was just for my purposes. So if we move all this, hopefully we can get it to go the rest of the way. Oop, let's not kill ourselves. And then somehow I got to get over there. This is a bit of a pain, but it's a lot better than having the flying machines, the TNT machines, blowing up on you. So that's kind of what has to be done when something like this happens. So hopefully we should be good here. And make sure I'm healthy. Drop that down. Oop, it went the other way. That's not the way I expected it to go. That might actually be bad. But we can probably fix it. Alright, so the other flying machine apparently got all the way down here and then just turned itself around. Not sure what happened there, so it should be easy enough to let's just remove these extra blocks here. And get rid of the extra lava over there, make sure there's nothing in the way, and then that flying machine should send itself back to the starting point, and it should be fine. I should be done with that one. I just got to get this one to go all the way back, and then I should be back to normal. Alright, it looks like we might be good here. The lava's all at a constant level. Flying machine is sticking to the right place, and so let's just check the schematic and make sure. Alright, yep, looks like everything's good with the schematic. I didn't change the schematic to adjust for the extra blocks that I added to that flying machine, but let's give it another go and cross my fingers. I gotta admit, I had a little bit of a heart attack there when I was having trouble with the flying machines, because this could have gone a lot worse than it did. Oh, I can see actually a little blue block down there. I remember I removed a sticky slime block from this side to get the slime machine. It was in the wrong position. So let's go fix that before that causes more problems. So full disclosure, I did run a couple of backups throughout that process. I did one initially and then another one when I got to the lava levels, and I didn't end up using them, but I got a little lucky that flying machine didn't end up failing earlier. If I had, I definitely would have restored from a backup without any qualms whatsoever. It took me something like 12 to 14 hours to build that machine, so I was not exactly hyped about having to build it all over again. And if you were building this on a server, I would highly recommend coordinating with a server admin to get some backups in there. Most of the time it would probably be a server project anyways, so I'd highly recommend doing the same if you were trying to do this anywhere else, because there's just so much work that goes into it and it's so easy for it to fail. I highly recommend doing something like that. So here I am down to bedrock, and there is obviously still some lava that needs to be gotten rid of. That was to be expected, so I'm going to have to get rid of that. And there's also still some netherrack. So there's some like this that could still be blown up if I run the machines again. And there's some like this that are underneath the bedrock, and the machine may never get that. It's hard to tell for certain. So one thing I'm going to do is first I'm going to remove all the lava. There's probably still some blocks underneath that as well. And then I'm going to see if I can fire off these machines again, just one or two more times. I believe that if I power this piston right here and then depower it, it should pull this machine down and then fire it again. And then if I wanted to fire it again, I'd have to remove that sticky, the slime block right there, and then I should be able to do it all over again, because the slime block will just be stuck on that block, and if I remove it, I might be actually able to do it again. Normally, the flying machine that removes lava would come across and hit this sticky piston and then start the whole process, but those machines are stuck on bedrock right now. They'll never run again, so I can't do that anymore, but I think I can get this machine to fire a few more times. and maybe that'll get rid of most of the netherrack that's down here at the bedrock level. There'll probably still be some, and I'll probably have to use Lightmatic or something to try and find all of those, because this is a big area. But that is all a chore for between episodes. So yeah, I'm going to clear out all the lava and see if I can get rid of all this netherrack. But I mean, just look at this. This is just amazing. It's huge. This is very cool. This has been a journey. It's been an adventure to get here, but it's very satisfying to see this. And it'll be even more satisfying when I get a wither farm here and we get those incredible rates. So I look forward to that in the next episode. I want to thank you very much for watching.